There's a lot of things that are going through my mind right now. I became a wrestling fan back in the day because of Kurt Hennig, and then because of Owen Hart. Obviously, that's where the name comes from. And everybody knows that I thought there needed to be a Sir Owen since there was a King Owen when he won the King of the Ring in 1994. Pillman fan, obviously. Huge Brian Pillman fan. Got to meet him actually in Charleston, West Virginia when I was a kid. That was when he was WCW Light Heavyweight Champion. All along, I had found this wonderful thing called independent wrestling. And I remember hearing the exploits of people like Reckless Youth. And this guy that I heard of a long time ago by the name of Christopher Daniels. And I started following Daniels' career. I mean, all the way from Windy City. Everything that he has done since day one. Watched him in Ring of Honor. Was super excited when he signed with TNA. He had a cup of coffee in the WWE, but it didn't really go anywhere. But that really wasn't the calling at the time. Of course, the infamous match on Thunder against Michael Modest. Can't forget that. Throughout everything, I've been a big supporter of Chris Daniels' work. And it's funny because it ties into the theme park world because he also does stuff at the Waterworld show at Universal Studios Hollywood. That's an interesting thing. I watched him be the stuntman in Spider-Man, facing Randy Savage inside a steel cage. And tonight, on March 11th, officially, on March 10th, how appropriate, destiny was finally achieved as Christopher Daniels is finally a world heavyweight champion. We've been talking about it here on this network for quite a while, obviously. When Daniels came back to Ring of Honor from TNA, the first thing that popped into my mind was, this is it. This is the time. The time is right to finally give Christopher Daniels the World Heavyweight Championship. And then they started the ball in motion. And they did everything with Kazarian and the addiction, and everything was staying the same. It wasn't Bad Influence anymore, it was the addiction. And then they started the singles run. And it started to look like it was going to happen. And then they did the Contenders tournament. And I was thinking, Daniels is going to win this. And he's going to get a world title shot. And in the 15th anniversary of Ring of Honor, he was finally going to become a world heavyweight champion. So I kept saying time in and time out that it was going to happen. And people were thinking, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense. Adam Cole's a 3-time champion, and he's having a tremendous run, doing a great job right now. Obviously, if you want to get into technicalities, his contract is up soon, so we don't know where he's going to go. He's going to stay in Ring of Honor. He's going to go to WWE if he has other options. Like Japan, he did a great interview with Dave and Bryan a couple days ago that was really good. So we don't know what the direction we're going to go. But then we started building on the fact that Chris Daniels was there from the beginning. Talking about the first ever Ring of Honor show, Chris Daniels was in the main event. And that was the championship that had eluded him his entire career. Now, it would have been great to see him win a title, a singles belt in TNA, but it never happened because the Hogan regime came in and changed everything. Would he have won a championship of worth other than the X Division championship? I think he probably would have. But it was not to be. It made more sense than anything else for him to win the World Heavyweight title. And it made even more sense for him to win the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. So I went to the parks earlier yesterday, hung out with some friends, had a great time. And I'm actually going to be a little bit, I guess I'll say a little markish for now because it's just, I've been calling this for years and it finally happened. So I thought it'd be really appropriate to wear this today. Yes, I know it's the TNA shirt, but it's all I've got since I haven't been able to go to Ring of Honor. And this is the closest you're going to see of my room until I actually do the video. Here's another thing. See, I've always been a big fan of Daniels' work, and one major thing that I did was this. His first action figure was through Impact, and I bought it. And it's one of the only action figures I have. I have this, and I have a Mr. Perfect Unmatched Fury figure that I got from a friend a long time ago. So yeah, it's still in the package. Never opened it. Never going to. So tonight we dedicate to, finally, Chris Daniels is a World Heavyweight Champion. Welcome to the Ring of Honor 15th Anniversary Popcast. Exclusively here on the Popcast Network. My name is Owen. Joining me is Ashley, and it is now March 11th here on the East Coast, and we're going to talk a little Ring of Honor. Ashley, any words before we get started?
Fucking Curryman, the world champion.
Curryman's a world champion. Yes, life is good. Welcome, Jeremy, to chat. I wanted to have a nice little speech before we started the show. That's the reason why I didn't get a chance to say anything. But yeah, I'm very excited, to say the least. Very happy this finally happened. I don't think he's dropping the title tomorrow during the TV tapings. I think he's going to be champion for a bit. I could be wrong on that, but I think he's going to remain champion for a while. And he deserves it. Whether it is a transitional run or if it's actually a legitimate title run, I am very happy they finally pulled the trigger. Because it was the perfect exclamation point to the show.
Interesting to see how this affects WrestleMania week, though.
Completely agree. Because that is after the tapings that are going to be tonight at Sam's Town back in Las Vegas. If Honor has anything major, is going to be Supercard of Honor. So now we start to build to the next big event for ROH. I mean, does this mean that we're going to see Dalton Castle versus Christopher Daniels for the World Championship now? Chris J says Adam Cole to NXT. I'm at two minds on this. I think it's possible. I mean, the conversation that he had a very candid conversation I mentioned at the beginning of the show with Brian and Dave the other day. Really entertaining. Adam Cole's a very well-spoken person, and he definitely knows he has a lot of options. Is he going to stick with Ring of Honor, resign, or is he going to go to NXT, or is he going to go to New Japan? Because that could be an option as well. But, I mean, it's anyone's guess what he's going to do. But Chris J, I will say right now, regardless what Adam Cole does, I think it's going to be the right direction for himself and what's going to make the most sense monetarily, obviously. And the fact that he loves wrestling and he wants to continue to wrestle for people that appreciate his wrestling skills. Yes, Jeremy, Destiny, hashtag ROH 15th. I completely agree. I wish I could have been in Vegas tonight to see this, to be honest, because it's something that I definitely wanted to be there for when it finally happened. The tapings tomorrow will tell us a lot, Ashley, to be honest, because it's gonna be the start of the build to Supercard of Honor.
Certainly.
Which I'm still upset I can't be at. I mean, I'm at TakeOver. TakeOver is going to be amazing, but I mean, I think living in Orlando
might be the best WWE show of that weekend.
I think it's a pretty good bet at this point, honestly, especially with the way the card looks right now. But yeah, we've got a lot to talk about tonight. I did not see, I don't know if you did or not, Ashley, was there a dark tonight? Because I haven't been able to locate one.
I'm not aware of there being one.
I mean, I looked around to check. I mean, like, the Wikipedia stuff, obviously, they were, like, right on it. Whenever a finish happened, they had the results up. I didn't know if they actually had a dark match tonight. I'm guessing they did, but because usually they have at least one. But I don't know because I can't find anybody that was actually in the building tonight. So I can get that information. But 8 matches made sense, so solid way to move on to another 15 the next year for ROH here, because this is the 15th year they've been in business. I mean, I remember watching Ring of Honor back in the days, back when they gave Xavier the championship. Good Lord, I know a lot of people still are mad about that to this day. But yeah, I mean, the show started off, interestingly enough, with a match that wasn't even promoted, and that was a match between Kenny King and Jay White. But before we get into this, obviously I'm a commentator, as you guys know, and you're going to hear very soon, if you are unaware. I will state right now that Ian Riccoboni is actually not bad. He's pretty decent.
And one thing I will say about Kevin is he let him do quite a bit of it.
Yes, he basically let him take the reins, and he basically kind of reined him in whenever he needed to make a point.
Kevin was the support to try and
right,
give him the experience that he's going to need, because I don't know how long it's going to be for. Because I'm guessing Kevin's probably going to be able to do Supercard of Honor.
I'd say so.
Now let me look at the notes that I've got. So I brought up my indie notes just because I thought this would come up in terms of timing and everything. Because obviously, if he's doing New Japan stuff, it will clash. So yeah, the major New Japan stuff. Obviously, he isn't doing the New Japan Cup stuff this weekend, but he'll probably be covering the finals if they are going to cover that.
Right.
Possibly. Certainly the next big one, April 9th. Then May 3rd, and obviously that doesn't clash. It makes sense because they announced that the next pay-per-view is going to be May the 12th, which is going to be the Ring of Honor New Japan shows in America. The 12th one being Hammerstein, but I think they're doing Philly and I think it's Toronto again.
That sounds right.
Over 4 nights. So then it gets confusing from there in terms of times and everything, because obviously we don't know that far ahead for Ring of Honor, really. So I'd say Kevin can do the big shows, at least for New Japan as well as Ring of Honor right now.
Which makes sense.
It stands. Yeah.
See, here's the question though. Here's the $1 million question right now. Who's the color commentator now? Because they seem like they have a rotating group of people. Like I know Matt Taven's done it before, and obviously tonight Cole Cabana did it. And I think Cabana did a phenomenal job tonight. He was name dropping like there was no tomorrow. And the best thing about Cabana, I think, tonight was he was really in tune with the Ring of Honor product. You could tell he did a lot of homework because he was there for most of it. And he name dropped a lot of names from the past that I know a lot of new Ring of Honor fans may not know who they are.
Yeah. Who's Samoa Joe?
I did like to shout out to Trent Acid and Johnny Cashmere because that made me happy because I was a big Backseat Boys fan back in the day.
And of course, he had to bring up Jimmy.
Oh, heck yeah, he had to bring up Jimmy. Absolutely.
Okay, it was Jimmy and BJ. But yeah.
Right. I mean, references to Special K and the Amazing Red and everything. I mean, it was nice for longtime ROH fans to hear these things that they haven't heard in a long time.
Part of me wonders whether he did it just to piss off Cornette.
It's possible. But,
hey, Jimmy Jacobs. He retweeted the spot in which Daniels, let's be honest, probably bladed.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Don't worry.
Jimmy Jacobs tweeted, "What do you know about getting that color?"
Nice.
Yep.
That's great. See the issue here, and I know we're getting to it, but the thing about it is, I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but the one thing that I noticed on commentary is they paid attention to the fact that Daniel's eyebrow was busted open.
Yeah.
If you're any kind of a smarter fan that would know a little bit about blading and how things work, you know that you can bust someone's eyebrow open either hard way, which they set it up quite well, or you could just blade the eyebrow. Brings a lot of color, and it's a quick way to get get that sort of feeling in a match.
Even Jimmy Jacobs is asking questions of Dave Meltzer, even though he works for WWE. Damn.
Would be nice to meet Uncle Dave in a couple weeks.
If he's there.
Yeah, we'll see. I know Brian's not going to be there, but I know Dave probably is. So, let's move on. We started off with a really awesome video package. ROH has really been working overtime on these video packages.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they build up this main event, and they really want to sell people that are unaware of how much history is behind this. I enjoyed it greatly. So we get our first match. It is Jay White versus Kenny King. Real quick, I'm really happy that they did this because it's not surprising they did. Jay White did a Hanma tribute.
Yeah.
He had the Kokeshi, which was cool. Got a good reaction from the crowd.
Makes sense because, the young boy situation.
Totally agree. Yeah, it's a good back and forth match. And I enjoyed this. They set up an exploder superplex. It gets blocked. Kenny King gets headbutted off. The flying body press is caught. Kenny King goes for the royal flush. He gets countered into a small package. Short, straight, and to the point, but it did what it had to do. It was a good way to get the crowd into the show and really pretty much amp them up the entire rest of the evening. The acoustics in the building were strange, but I mean, the crowd they seemed to be into the show.
Town always is.
Yeah, you can definitely tell it's not built for professional wrestling.
Samstown, you can tell it. It's like when they did the esports competition in Vegas a few weeks back. For the group stages, they literally just did it on the casino floor.
Which makes sense.
Which sometimes when the people shout because they get passionate about it, that must have scared the shit out of some of the people on the floor. They eventually moved it, I guess, to some sort of arena situation later on. But yeah, there's a lot of buildings. I mean, even when you think about it, most of the big stuff in Vegas, other than like the arena, isn't a very practical venue. Case in point, all the famous boxing matches in WrestleMania 9 at Caesar's Palace. Really not that practical.
No, not at all. And I can assure you can get lost at Caesar's Palace if you're trying to get from the forums to the actual casino because it's that confusing.
And they don't signpost it because they want you to get lost. And then you spend the money. And then you take the women. And that's turning into Scarface. My bad.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
any thoughts before we move forward?
Overall solid opener. It certainly started off not great, but it built into something that was actually pretty good.
It was kind of plotting to start off. I mean, there was a couple things here. I did like what they did with Caprice Coleman. He basically took the Tope Suicida because he pretty much shoved Kenny King out of the way. I thought that was a really good way to tie them into working together. Did I miss anything, or is Rhett Titus not? Does it make sense for him not to be on the show?
I plead the fifth.
Oh boy. Anyway, so we move forward to our next match. We had a world television title shot on the line, and all you have to do is get past 5 other guys. 6-way scramble with Frankie Kazarian and Hangman Adam Page representing the Bullet Club, as well as Chris Sabin, Punishment Martinez, Cheeseburger, and Silas Young.
Interesting way. especially when you
Very
take
much
into
so.
account apparently Cheeseburger might have won
Yeah.
because he was in the match. It's like, okay, Silas Young makes sense. Saban makes sense. Kazarian makes sense. Is
Right.
Cheeseburger here because they didn't have anybody else to fill the card?
Yes. I will give Cheeseburger credit for wearing the Hayabusa mask. I like that. The name dropping started in this match, actually. Cabana. Stuff in this match, really. So we get to later on in the match, and Adam Page goes for the rite of passage, and it gets countered because he's trying to do it to Cheeseburger on the ring apron, and he gets up in punishment Martinez's face, and yeah, that doesn't go over very well, and he gets choke slammed on the ring apron. So Saban with the field goal kick to Martinez, Kaz with a slingshot and the Ace Crusher, gets a near fall off of that. Saban runs up the buckle, hits German on Kaz. A lot of X Division memories in that spot, actually. So Silas comes from behind, hits the Finley roll. The moonsault goes for Misery. Cheeseburger saves. And they go back and forth momentarily. So the Shote is ducked. Misery's countered again, and the springboard into the palm strike. Ducks the springboard clothesline to springboard knee to Silas. The Shote finally connects, but Kaz pulls him off, hits the ace of spades, and gets the win. So, surprisingly enough, on a night where Christopher Daniels is getting a world title shot, they give Frankie Kazarian a TV title shot down the line. I wonder. I guess we'll see.
Well, I'm trying to. I mean, they obviously could stick it on Supercard. But part of me's wondering whether they might save it for May.
Well, we do have a TV taping tomorrow they could possibly do stuff with.
Possibly. Well, I don't think they'd do it for TV, though.
Probably not, but you never know. Thoughts on the match before we move forward?
Good four-way, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Kazarian going over sort of makes sense. As I say, any one of them, bar Cheeseburger, which is no disrespect to him, but I think he realizes as well. I think he needs a bit more experience. I'm not trying to say he needs Daniel's years of experience before he can be a world champion, but certainly he's proving to be a pretty good young boy that's now turning into somebody that I would not be surprised by the end of the year he does get a shot at a TV title properly.
Ashley went robotic there for a second.
Even towards Final Battle time.
Right.
But certainly not to the start of a year, because, hell, we might even go for the tag titles with Liger over the War of the Worlds weekend.
To be honest, that wouldn't shock me a bit.
Or week.
Well, it's funny because Jeff Hardy worked with Liger for Northeast Wrestling. So, I mean, they have a past. If they want to go with that, they can.
No. I don't know how long Hardy's are for this.
I think everybody is...
Well, but this Ring of Honor.
No, I think everybody's jumping to the wrong conclusion here. I really think that they're signed for a considerable amount of time. I think it'd be dumb to try to sign a team as hot as the Hardys without having any sort of longevity on their contract. You don't sign people to pop a number. and then let them go on their merry way.
Be interesting to see how it did on the pay-per-view, boys, though, because the Hardys are on it.
Right. Not the Broken Hardys. We'll get to that on Wednesday.
We'll bring it up when we get to that match partially as well,
Right.
because it obviously needs to be brought up, because I think it heavily affected the presentation that we got tonight.
I completely agree, 100%.
Next, the first of the matches. The first of the Daniel Bryan matches. They always keep now saying these are top contenders matches.
Yeah.
If whoever wins actually get, but even though that isn't the stipulation, because they use the tagline top contenders matches, like it sort of isn't. It's just a damn awesome guy like Bobby Fish versus a damn awesome guy called Jay Lethal.
I think Ashley what they're trying
to pick rap battles of history.
I think Ashley what they're trying to say is, honestly, it may not be an official number one contenders match, but it was notated by Ian and Kevin on commentary that either of these men, if they won the match, would definitely be in contention for a world title shot down the line.
Well, they got to be, because nobody else is on the roster that's available.
This is correct. So Jay Lethal comes out. He's wearing his vest. He still has not checked off Cody Rhodes' name on the back of his vest. I like that. Attention to detail. So early on in the match, Lethal goes for the tope suicida, and Bobby Fish pulls a Chris Jericho. He basically maneuvers him into the guardrail. I like that. That was done quite well. He hits another one, and that's later on in the match, but this time it's on the ramp, and he bounced off the ramp. I thought that was cool. So we go forward in the match. Hail to the King gets caught with a crucifix roll up. He rolls through. He goes for the fish hook. He can't get it. He drags him in the middle right before Lethal's about to grab the ropes, but he gets the ropes again. Lethal hits a lethal combination, heads up top, hits Hail to the King, and it's done quite well this time around, but he fights out of it. They trade kicks. And Lethal with a pump kick and the enziguri after the super kick. He hits a cutter off the middle buckle. Goes for the lethal injection. He gets countered, fish hook, and he counters back and a roll up for a near fall. So they trade strikes and kicks. And he ducks the round kick, and lethal injection finishes off Bobby Fish for the 3 count. They didn't give it as much time as I thought they would, Ashley. They only got it about 15 minutes to tell a story here.
Well, we weren't going to have that much time, were we?
Not if you look at the rest of the show, but if you look at the next match, you would.
If you look at the fact that obviously those 2 matches got added, and everything else from this match on was already confirmed, we were already sort of limited to what we were going to get.
I mean, the interesting thing about this match is, sadly, right now at this very moment, as we sit here doing this podcast, I will state that the one thing we're waiting on right now is confirmation, and confirmation that we really don't want to have to make at this point. Because there is a really good chance that TK Orion got messed up something fierce tonight.
I thought we were talking about something else now. I was getting confused. I was getting worried. I was like,
let's get to that.
Tom Mahon's taking a turn as he was like, oh, shit.
No.
So, yeah, this is the 6-man tag. So, this is the Kingdom of Taven, Marsaglia, and TK versus Dalton and the boys.
Whole lot of light colors in this match. Obviously, Dalton and the boys normally go for the lighter colors on their gear, but in this case, Matt Taven was basically saying that they're paying tribute to Prince with the Purple Rain gear.
Who was the skinny fucking runt that looked like he weighed about, 2 bags of sugar that was one of the bloody other boys that was in the entrance. You have big muscular men, and then somebody, it's like, is that a Funko Pop toy? Because it was literally that size, except it wasn't fat. It was like thin, like a stretched Armstrong, except, you know, the size of a Funko Pop.
Like the King Ross thing with this time, like Vince McMahon likes Eyes Wide Shut. Yeah, I thought that was good. Worked for me at least. So yeah,
it's true.
This match was just. I mean, these 6-man tag matches have been just kind of there, honestly. Once again, Dalton Castle coming off like the bastard love child of Jack Black and Bray Wyatt. Gotta say that every single time we do one of these. Because you can just hear it. Marcelia actually, one point during the match, slams one of the boys on the ring apron. That looked really good. So Cabana starts singing "The Boys Are Back in Town" at ringside. I thought that was well done. Cabana is beside himself as the boys do twin magic one point during the match, which leads to a small package on TK Orion for a near fall. Bangarang is countered in a roll-up for a near fall. Nice tip up, but it gets caught. Bangarang on Matt Taven for a near fall. Dalton gets tossed to the outside. Vinny ends up eating a rock and roll style double drop kick from the boys. And he starts headbutting the shoulders. And then TK Orion makes a cardinal mistake. Oh my God. So
I am on pay-per-view. Let's do some flippy shit.
The spot is an Acai moonsault, obviously. But you could tell he got way too much extension on it, and bad things were going to happen, but you didn't know exactly how bad until it actually did.
Plus, he's a tall fuck.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't help. Not at all. So he does a complete rotation. It looks beautiful, but when he lands, he hits his shins as hard as humanly possible on the barricade, so much that it actually knocks off the protective covering off the actual barricade itself. And he's done. He is totally done after this. So obviously Vinny and Matt Taven have to actually call an audible, which makes sense. And they hit the Rockstar Supernova on one of the boys so they could retain the 6-man tag belts. It was pretty nasty, to say the least. They carried TK Orion in his back. There's been no reports as of yet on ROH social media from what's going on with him at this point. I think they're still trying to figure it out. But this looked bad, Ashley. It really did.
Yeah, just the way he connected, and the fact they went for a replay as well.
Oh, it looked even worse than the replay.
Part of me is also going, for the sake of his family, you might want to take the GIF off the Ring of Honor Twitter page if this is very, very serious.
I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll get an update sometime. We won't have one probably by the time we're off the air tonight, but hopefully we'll be able to talk about it on Wednesday's show. I have a feeling we'll know something by Wednesday.
If anybody is to know, it'll probably be Monsieur Dave.
Yeah,
because I think they are doing a show tonight, as they normally do.
I'd say so.
Pay-per-view, so he's clearly got people on the inside because of the amount of stuff he reports on Ring of Honor that pisses off the internet because he's so pro Ring of Honor.
Right, totally. So,
no, but yeah, I mean, it took the shot. Well, it was a decent match, which became a bit of a mess after the spot.
Well, yeah, they called an audible. They went directly to the finish, and I'm sure they had at least 5 minutes left in the match.
Literally, Kevin went, look, guys. So I'm wondering then whether that meant one of the title matches went a bit longer than usual.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, but if you look at the rest of the card, there's not much. I mean, everything else for the rest of the night went at least. Weirdly enough, the six man later on in the show, actually, the other six man only went less than 12 minutes. So high and above, the six man tag team title match was the shortest match on the show. It didn't even go 8 minutes. So my guess is they had everything was going to go at least 10 tonight. But for some reason, Jay White and Kenny King only went less than 10. And I think the Kingdom would have went a little bit longer, but obviously the injury to TK Orion probably just completely took everybody out of the moment. And they called an audible and they went straight to the finish. Protecting Dalton, obviously, because he didn't have to eat the pin.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes perfect sense.
Just trying to see if I've page of wiki. Don't know why I said it like the Hardy. Has times on these matches yet?
Yeah, they do. That's how I got them.
Okay.
Speaking of matches, oh boy.
Yeah, let's get to this one because
Ring of Honor World
this only
Television
went
title on
18
the line.
minutes. It felt like it went half an hour.
But it's
Dilla versus
Thing of Beauty.
not Mexican Rush. Not CMLL Rush, even though he probably was wrestling tonight on the CMLL show.
This was really good.
And this is why Ring of Honor picked him up from CZW.
Yeah, Lio Rush kind of made himself tonight, to be honest. Even more so than he has recently.
With respect, he made himself with the Joey Janela feud, and in turn made Joey Janela as well in CZW, because their feud was really top notch. But yeah,
I'm talking about in Ring of Honor. Lio Rush made himself tonight.
Oh, in terms of that, definitely. But I'm also saying, I would argue, I think WWE have got a new Shelton Benjamin on their hands in the next few years.
Very good possibility. He could probably take the spot.
Leo, I think, is only 20 or 21 still.
He could possibly take that spot that ACH would have had. He's 22. He's 22 right now, actually. I just looked it up.
There's certainly an opportunity there for him, because I think he will stay with Ring of Honor until he gets the right offer from, I would argue, WWE. If he's stupid, it'll be Impact, because I think he'll have more opportunities going places in WWE than he would in TNA right now. I know it's not called TNA, but fuck it. I'm calling it whatever the shit I want.
So let's get to this match. Oh my god, so good. Obviously, you know I'm a spot guy, so I have little notes on this. Obviously, I have lots of notes for the next couple matches. I like what Marty did in this match with Leo going for the baseball slide, and he gets caught in the ring apron. And then he hit the grounded side kick to the side of the head. I thought that worked really well. Good stuff here. He ends up hitting it later on in the match 3 times, and then Leo starts no-selling him. So they start brawling. It's an overhead kick, a handspring, gets going for the crossface chicken wing, gets countered to a near fall, hits satellite DDT, goes up top of the Dragon's Call, but he misses because Skrull gets the knees up, hits a vicious pile driver for a near fall. Tombstone's countered, and because right now Leo's mouth is busted open from all the punishment he's been taking the entire match. Tombstone's countered again, and he goes for the chicken wing again, but it gets countered one more time. He sits down for a near fall, and Rush ends up hitting the Rush Hour out of absolute nowhere for a really good false finish here. I like this a lot. So at one point, Lio Rush grabs the Ring of Honor television title from outside the ring. It looks like he's about to snap, like he's about to try to out-villain the villain. But then he's like, nah, I'm just going to drop the title. And this is when craziness started here. So roll up is countered. He goes for Dragon's Call. He actually hits it this time, gets a very close near fall, almost 3 right there. He grabs a chair, 2 of the chairs, that not the folding chairs, just the chairs like you would normally see in like you would sit in normally, like that probably you might be sitting in at home or wherever you are listening to this podcast right now. So he puts him on the buckle. He's basically setting up for Rush Hour off the top. So he's setting up for Spanish Fly. But Marty's like, nope, that's not happening. I'm going to stop you. And he European uppercuts him. And he goes all Nigel McGuinness hits the Tower of London for a near fall. So, of course, he ends up snapping the fingers, which is a good thing, as always, because that means that the end's coming. So he rolls through the crossface attempt again, and then Marty turns into Bryan Danielson, starts raining down the elbows. He rips off the protective tape off the shoulder. He locks in the crossface chicken wing right in the center of the ring, and Lio Rush has to give it up. Very good finish here. Really good back and forth here. I enjoyed the story they told. I enjoyed all the false finishes here. A lot of people bought on them. There was a lot of times that you didn't know if it was going to end or not. The Rush Hour coming out of nowhere was great. Teasing the Rush Hour off the top, basically the Spanish Fly, onto the chairs. Knew it wasn't going to happen, but teasing it was one thing to put that in the back of your head. And Marty Scurll going all Nigel McGuinness was really awesome at the end. I enjoyed that greatly. It was a vicious match, really was in every sense of the word, and that's the reason Lio Rush got his mouth busted open.
And that's why they call him the villain.
Absolutely.
And once again, I have to state, what the fuck would have happened to this man had he won British Boot Camp?
I will give, well, it's funny you mentioned that, because at one point Colt Cabana actually called him Party Marty.
Well, Colt would, wouldn't he? Let's be honest.
Yes, he would.
And let's be honest, I think we know what Colt was doing this afternoon. Probably in the hotel room with Marty and all the other people on the show.
That is a very good bet.
Podcast.
Yes. So we move forward. Apparently, the original booking here was going to be the Briscoes versus the Killer Elite Squad. But Lance Archer is out for 6 months with a herniated disc in his back, so that's the reason why this match ended up changing.
Well, you know, practically everybody in Suzuki Gun got fucked up.
Yeah, no lie.
Those 2 shows where it's like, this is the plan. And it's like, that can no longer be the plan because one of them's injured. And the next night it was, that ain't the plan either because Lance Archer got in. I can't remember I think it was El Desperado that got injured.
Probably.
He was off. Then because Archer got injured, bloody Iizuka, who, you know, can't wrestle for fuck, got put on. So, I mean, it makes sense because obviously then it builds towards the show, the Ring of Honor New Japan head-to-head in May.
Right.
But in doing it the way they did, at least, you know, having, because, you know, from what we reported last week when they did the Ring of Honor Rising shows, Japan seemed to like War Machine.
Oh yeah, totally.
Of Hansen and Rowe, so you know it's enough with them to obviously team up. Obviously here because it made sense for the chicken farmers to team up with the guy from the other side of the tracks in Dudleyville.
Yeah, it was interesting.
I'm surprised he didn't go more hick, old school Bubba in his promo.
Wouldn't have been shocking at this point.
But
so we get this match, which was added earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
6-man tag team action: the Briscoes and Bully Ray taking on War Machine and Davey Boy Smith Jr. Obviously, it was going to be interesting to see how Davey Boy Smith Jr. worked with War Machine, but obviously we answered that rather quickly because they ended up jaw-jacking nearly the entire match. I will give credit to Davey Boy Smith Jr. The Briscoes were setting up a double suplex, and he ended up hitting a stereo Northern Light suplex on both of them. I thought that was really well done. For some reason, they set up the was up headbutt, but it was an elbow instead. I thought that was obviously that was going to pop the crowd. They went to go get the tables, but of course they get stopped by War Machine. So Davey Boy did the trademark stalling vertical suplex because that made sense, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
There was good stuff back in this match. Bully Ray finally got the hot tag. He got tossed to the outside and marked the flying body press. And then Jay got one, and then Bully got one, and then we saw the Jay Driller, the Froggy Bow, and then a 3-man version of the 3D to get the win on Raymond Rowe. Not bad at all. War Machine basically saying it's Davey's fault. Security separate. I'm pretty sure at one point one of the security guards got knocked out legitimately. But yeah, I'm curious to see if we're gonna get anybody teaming up with Davey Boy Smith Jr. tomorrow on the tapings, because obviously Lance Archer can't do it, to try to get revenge on War Machine for that. Because obviously Killer Elite Squad versus War Machine has got to be the match we're going for, but we can't do it right now.
I mean, I don't want to say it's continuing the storyline, but Shane Taylor?
That's a very good possibility, to be totally honest. Davey Boy's like, I had to find somebody that knows you better than you know yourself, and here comes Shane Taylor to the ring. It makes perfect sense. I don't know if he's booked for the tapings, though. I'm not aware.
Well, he's part of the roster, so I'd have thought he would be.
It's possible. I guess we'll
obviously
see.
He's still under contract with them. It's not like he's left.
Yeah, Davey Boy.
It's only Keith that's left. Shane re-signed for another year, I think.
Yeah, that is correct. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he teams up with Davey Boy Smith Jr. against the War Machine tomorrow night. Good speculation. I'm pretty sure it's true. Then we get our next match. Oh, of course, I got a lot of notes for this one too, for good reason. So, of course,
I'm trying to remember.
Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles on the line. The new champions, Matt and Jeff Hardy, defending against the Young Bucks and Roppongi Vice in a Las Vegas street fight. Now, this was set up to be for the ROH tag belts, with the Bucks defending against Roppongi Vice, finally blowing off their feud in a street fight, obviously, because they've taken it to each other for so long in both New Japan and Ring of Honor. So they wanted to put an exclamation point on it. But when the Hardys won, it was kind of like they're going to put them in there. The title match was going to still happen, but it was now going to be a 3-way, which you would think right off the top would take Rocky Romero and Trent Barretta out of this. But no, they actually really brought it tonight, too, to be totally honest.
The spot at the start was very good humored.
I agree.
The whole, the Young Bucks doing the suck it, and he's doing the delete, but in doing so, chopping the chests of Roppongias that were coming in to say, like, we're in this as well.
Yeah, it's like, get out of here. This is between the two of us. So, I mean, the four of us need to take care of business. So you two, get out of the ring. I like how that was stopped by Roppongi Vice just got a garbage can lid and just started wearing everybody out with it. I thought that was really well done.
What worth noting here. So if you're wondering by watching it why a lot wasn't made about the stuff, if you haven't heard,
yep,
Anthem pretty much sent cease and desist letters to practically everybody. Sent it to the Hardys, which led to Rebby going full on moan.
That was insane.
Ring of Honor and Sinclair and everything, because it obviously is good. And even the pay-per-view providers, as if to try and put pressure then on Ring of Honor to not do it. And they did it right. You know, they just said that they were Matt and Jeff. You can't stop them from going wonderful. You know, you can't stop Matt saying the word in the manner of the way he does. And you can't stop the fans chanting delete.
No, we couldn't do that at Impact.
Or obsolete. And they treated it perfectly, to be quite honest. You know, they obviously acknowledged, you know, their personalities, but they played it low key, which I don't mean Caval. I think that's my new joke now.
I guess, because you used it the other night too.
Whenever I do it in terms of Impact, I'll have to say Senchi. I'm dropping these references like Colt. But yeah, they played it subtle, which was the most sensible thing to do in the situation they're in. I still think it's stupid if you take into account that obviously Ring of Honor in Canada is broadcast on the network, which is owned by the same company. And it's one of the shows that actually gets a lot of viewers on said company's television product. I think it gets way more than even Impact gets over there. So it makes you wonder why they'd be more interested in a product that they own but gets less ratings over something which gets more ratings. Hell, that's why Ring of Honor now do shows in Canada every year.
Makes sense.
Because they co-promote it as part of the Fight Network stuff and everything. But yeah, this was a good, interesting as well. And I know this is towards the latter end, but a table shows up. But interestingly, there's only one set of legs on it. And I could not see the second set of legs, which made me wonder, obviously, they were prepping that table for the spot. So rather than like cumbersomely putting the legs around it to act as a support, they just took the one set of legs off and just did it so they could drape it on the rope. And then spot, which I don't think I've seen since Young Bucks versus Candice and Joey, just a couple of years back. At least I don't remember it. They probably have done it somewhere, and it's not coming to my mind. But we had the spot with, I think it was Trent, wasn't it, that took the barrage of it. So they did some thumbtacks. They did some thumbtacks and did obviously a standard sort of thumbtack spot, and then they did the let's put thumbtacks in his mouth. Obviously not really. They put enough that they could like play sort of like in between his lips to make it look like the mouth is full of it. And then just double super kick. These guys know how to do, even to some extent, Trent and Rocky know how hardcore style matches. So they put on a very good affair. I wouldn't say it's as good as what you're probably going to get from the match in April, or to be quite honest, from either the Hardys or the Bucks on other shows against other people. Because I've seen way more extreme and better matches from them in PWG. Certainly the Candice and Joey thing, even though it was sort of great to see in terms of obviously Candice winning a title there finally. It was more a case of, and it wasn't even a case of like she was standing tall and proud, and even though other women were saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be, busting yourself open and whatever and doing hardcore spots." I just find that funny that Velvet Sky said things like that. Not just, well, Jay have, Jessica Havoc, she's done crazy shit herself. Crazy matches with her bloody boyfriend, Sammy. And then, of course, who's Velvet Sky going out with? It's like he's known for hardcore shit himself. So, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, this match was good, but I somehow feel, certainly in terms of the feud between the Hardys and the Bucks, the best is probably still yet to come. I don't even know if it's just going to be Ring of Honor, though.
It won't. Nah, probably not.
Depends where the Hardys and the Young Bucks are on the 21st of April. And whether Excalibur's got the right amount of money, if you know what I mean. Which, considering they're charging so much for the bloody tickets, I'm pretty sure for once they can go, we've got enough money to go. Do you want to try?
So, since I get a chance to go into the actual match yet, I do want to say that I am looking on Twitter and I saw TK Orion just tweeted out, I have to get my leg set tonight and I'll probably need surgery. So we don't know any more than
that. Having it set and probably, well, set means it's broken, obviously.
Yeah, it's definitely broken.
So hopefully it isn't too bad. He ain't going to be out for a while. My only question is, what does that mean now?
Well, obviously, my answer to this before that even happened was the fact that this is how you bring Mike Bennett back.
If they can do the deal, well, I guess he may show up tomorrow. We'll have to see.
You have Mike and Maria show up and basically say, I may have strayed for a while, but when you're in the kingdom, you're always in the kingdom. And I see that you have a fallen.
They could piss off TNA by going, hey, it looks like, or perhaps a miracle.
So, yeah. Let's talk about this match. Crazy stuff happened. Ashley already talked about one of the spots I wanted to bring up, but there's some good stuff here. At one point, the Bucks decided they wanted to do the Swanton yodeling leg drop combination, and they missed it, and the crowd started chanting Bucks of Youth. Matt hit an awesome Niagara driver on Matt Jackson. I thought that looked really good. At one point, Nick's climbing the ladder. Trent Beretta shoves him off. He lands to spring on the middle rope, on the top rope, and he basically just dives on everyone. I thought that was done well. So they set up the buckle bomb high kick combo, and Trent comes in with a garbage can shot to the head. They set up more bang for your buck later on in the match. Rocky gets the knees up. And then the Hardys end up getting the twist of fate, then the side effect. And Jeff goes for the swanton, gets the knees up, crowd chant all these guys. And then that sleeve of tacks came out, and that just was a very interesting spot for Rocky Romero to pull that out. And he starts hitting running clotheslines on everybody in the corner numerous times with the actual thumbtack covered arm sleeve. Very unique match here. I like this. They went for strong zero. They connect. Matt made the save. Trent dropped a bag of thumbtacks into the ring. They set up a double superplex. He gets knocked off. Trent goes for a superplex of his own. He gets stopped. Matt puts him on the Doomsday, and Nick Jackson with a springboard facebuster into the tacks. So they super kick the Hardys off the apron. Then Rocky Romero, they put the tacks in the mouth and the kiss and the super kick like we talked about earlier. Rocky goes for the slice bread number 2, gets stopped. Meltzer driver is set up on the tacks. Hardys make the save. Because of Matt going into the tacks, his shoulder is now busted open, so he's bleeding. So they trade blows, super kicks are stopped, twist of fate, and both of them connect. Near fall there on the Bucks. Hardys grab the tables, they set that up against the ropes, and then of course Trent gets super kicked, and Trent ends up on the table. Jeff with a swanton off the top of the ladder. And then after the match, to add insult to injury, Ashley, they took the super kick party titles.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's the next titles to claim on the expedition.
I mean, I think at this point, honestly, we're leading to ladder war at Supercard of Honor.
I mean, it's possible. Obviously, it certainly could be built up to tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's where they'll start building it up is tomorrow.
The biggest coup would be, though, because I don't think we've had a ladder match in PWG for about a year. Then again, with the way that the roof is some of the crazy shit that the Hardys would want to do, it'd be like, I don't think legally we can do some of that stuff.
Makes sense.
But yeah, it all has me intrigued. I don't want to say excited. I just want to say intrigued about the TV tapings.
Oh, speaking of intrigue,
where we're going, building into obviously that, but then also beyond, because I'm guessing on that show we're also going to be having actual number 1 contenders matches to determine.
I'd say so.
Because take from that show that okay, they're probably doing TV tapings like the week after or something. Let me see if we got next show is April. Well, probably the next show isn't April 28th, but if the next pay-per-view is May the 12th, we're only going to be basically a month away, or 5 weeks, 5-6 weeks from Supercard of Honor to the next pay-per-view. So
makes sense.
All right, wrestling.com. I'm trying to see if they've updated the. Oh, thank God, they've updated their website to say, "Oh yeah, some bloke called Daniels is champion." TV tapings in Baltimore on April the 8th. So Saturday,
which sucks.
Of Honor.
Hello, Tyler. Welcome to chat.
Then a couple of live events. One in Milwaukee and the other in Hopkins, Minnesota. And then the War of the Worlds tour, Sunday the 7th in Toronto. That means it's going head-to-head with Extreme Rules, isn't it? That'd be interesting. Then Dearborn, Michigan on the Wednesday. the pay-per-view, which is the Hammerstein Ballroom show on Friday the 12th, and then the ECW Arena for TV tapings on the 14th. That's a solid lineup. So, certainly there's the possibility that those TV tapings on April 8th will build stuff towards May as well. But obviously, if you're going to be having Japanese talent in, they obviously can't be on the April 8th tapings when they've got a major pay-per-view the day after on the 9th. So some of the angles may present themselves sooner rather than later. Hell, they might even present themselves in Japan, even though it's a Ring of Honor show.
So let's talk about this. Great video package. My God, a great interview from Chris Daniels here.
I have to credit Colt though afterwards. Real wrestlers don't cry. Soft, stop being a soft.
Great stuff. Obviously, this is a match I've been waiting a long time for, so I have a lot of notes, so bear with me.
Let's cover the whole match.
I'm planning on it, don't worry. I have a full page of notes for this match. So let me put
to note, probably because of the significance of this match, we had Code of Honor.
Yep. Daniels is rocking the Venom singlet.
Oh, should we call it the Alexander Hamilton singlet?
Oh no! He had the singlet. He had Venom on the very top of the singlet. So the actual singlet itself, but the Hamilton jacket.
I meant the attire though that he wore to the ring.
The Hamilton jacket was definitely there. Yeah.
Because as said in the intro, which made sense, he is one of the founding fathers of Ring of Honor.
well, here's an interesting thing about that, Ashley, and I don't know if this was foreshadowing or like. I can't say this was done on purpose, but it might have been, even though I don't think anyone picked up on it. Did you notice anything interesting about Christopher Daniels' video package?
Not off the top of my head. What happened?
Daniels package.
Was it a good package? Was it a bad package?
No. We'll talk. Well, no, not tonight.
I didn't. I was having problem at that point with losing connection with my hub, so I think I missed it.
Yeah, not as bad as me when the actual internet in the entire apartment just went out. That was wonderful. Right before the bell rang too. That was even better.
Oh shit.
That sucked. But luckily, internet righted itself. Thankfully, I didn't have to restart the modem or anything. Like I said, Daniels' Tron was an addiction one and was featuring Frankie Kazarian. And you would think if they wanted to push the fact that Kaz turned on Daniels to join the Bullet Club, you would think Daniels would get his own Tron. But it was an addiction Tron, not just a Christopher Daniels one. So I was wondering if that was subtle foreshadowing, potentially, or they just didn't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it could be. Yes. You're very welcome, TK Orion. Is my pleasure. I said, glad to hear your good spirits get well soon. He liked my tweet. All right. So let's talk about this match. We start off with a spot that builds sympathy right away. Adam Cole with the super kick. Daniels is close to the ring post. And of course, he whacks his head against the ring post, and he goes down.
And the bloody Hunter in the back is going, pan away from Daniels, cameraman. Pan away from Daniels.
Yeah, they went to a replay of the super kick and him hitting the post.
But then the camera panned away and stayed looking at Cole in the ring. And looking at Cole like way too long because you knew and you saw the beginning of it.
He mentioned,
so it happened. Daniels was starting to go under the apron,
Kevin Kelly mentioned the eyebrow being busted open. If you're a longtime wrestling fan, you would know that when you can bust someone's eyebrow open hard way, because Harley Race used to do it all the time. If you read Mick Foley's first book, you'd know that. But it's also an easy way to get color if you use a blade too. But yeah, the Crimson Mask started immediately. I like this, and Adam Cole. At this point, one of the things I really enjoyed, he went all Jerry Lynn in this match. He didn't write die on his chest or anything like that, like what Jerry Lynn did with Steve Corino in ECW, but he did rub Daniel's blood on his chest. I thought that was a really good tactic there. Disgusting, but it worked for the storyline.
Thank God it wasn't Jimmy Jacobs.
No lie. Indeed. Adam Cole hits a Shining Wizard for a near fall, yells, "Get up, old man." They're basically building on the fact of Daniels' age during this entire match, and that's what the storyline has been about. Like, when are you going to give it up? When are you going to retire? I mean, you're 45 years old. Your best days are behind you, or in this case, your best days never happened in the first place. You're always going to be like you're always going to be Susan Lucci because you're never going to win the big one. I got news for you. She won the big one too. So Daniels would eventually, and thankfully it happened tonight. But we'll get to that. So I like this. The Adam Cole Bebe chant, crowd was going with it. Daniels hits a reverse STO, locks on the Koji clutch, and obviously Cole gets out of it. Hits a pump kick, and he goes, "Maybe after I wreck you, I'm going to go to your home and wreck your wife."
Oh, shit, son.
Bad things are going to happen to Adam Cole. And it's funny because it started with no selling because Daniels gets slammed face first to the top turnbuckle twice. And he completely no sells it. So they trade blows. Cole cuts him off with a knee. And we get a clothesline back elbow from Daniels, hits an STO, goes for the Uranagi, elbows out of it, and Daniels is hitting the Blue Thunder for a near fall. He puts him on the buckle. It's an old school iconoclasm, which was nice to see because I don't really see him hit that move very much anymore. Near fall off of that. Uranagi again goes for the best moonsault ever, but he lands on his feet. Cole hits him with a super kick for a near fall. He fires him into the elbows out of it. Waistlock gets countered. Enziguri kick, and he hits a Shining Wizard. And the last shot, Daniels kicks out at 2.5. Cole on the middle buckle gets caught with the palm strike from Daniels. He goes for the iconoclasm, gets stopped again. Daniels does another palm strike, and Daniels with Frankensteiner off the top. Near fall off of that. Sets up Angel's Wings, and it gets countered with a Rana from Cole. Pump kick miss, and super kick does not. Palm strike does connect. Double clothesline, both men down with a double down. So Adam Cole's on the top, gets crouched up top. Daniels goes for Angel's Wing, gets blocked again, gets punched off. Cole sets up for the Panama Sunrise, but it gets countered. And Daniels goes for a splash in the corner. He misses, boot in. Angel's Wings on Chris Daniels, 1-2. Who better to kick out of that move than Christopher Daniels, obviously? So Cole goes for the Shining Wizard. He hits one, drops the knee pad. He's going to hit one with the bare knee, and of course he misses after he does the gun to the head for the Bullet Club. Roll up, last shot on Adam Cole, but again, Cole kicks out of his own move for a near fall. So they go for Angel's Wings again. Cole counters with a jackknife cover for a near fall. Pump kick, super kick, pop up, gets caught, and Daniels hits the Styles Clash.
Can't think why he did that.
Very appropriate. And of course, the kick out happens there right at 3. So Todd Sinclair gets bumped. Obviously, Cole with a low blow and a roll up, but there's no referee to make the pin. And here comes Frankie Kazarian wearing the Bullet Club shirt.
The great thing is, it was at this point that Owen was pissed because it was like, God damn it, why are they doing a ref bump spot?
Well, I figured there'd be a ref bump here because obviously Kaz has to get involved in this match. And regardless what they were going to do, you knew, like I said, it's a subtle thing that if you really think about it, was the Tron really like truth before we knew it? Because I said to you when he came out, I'm like, he's going to turn He's going to turn on the Bullet Club. He's going to help Daniels win the title. That's exactly how the show's going to end. Once again, call me the amazing Kreskin. So Kaz runs out. Adam Cole grabs the world title. Kaz holds him for the belt shot. He swings it and he stops because obviously Daniels ducks out of the way. So Kaz is like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to end this. So Kaz grabs the Ring of Honor Championship. And the next thing you know, he's getting ready to swing it. He's getting ready to swing it. And then he tosses the belt aside. He flips off Adam Cole, rips off the Bullet Club shirt, and he reveals.
He rips off the shirt first to show the Destiny shirt. The same.
He's showing the Destiny shirt, and then he flips him off.
Yeah, and he just went, yeah. Screw you, man.
Yeah, I even wrote that in my notes here. Of course, he hits Uranagi, and then he hits the best moonsault ever 3 times. And we all count along as Christopher Daniels becomes Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. They gave this match 22 minutes. Locker room empties after this. Obviously, Adam Cole is left. Basically, Adam Cole turns into Diamond Dallas Page at the end of Ready to Rumble. Because everybody is celebrating in the ring, and Adam Cole is walking away defeated away from everyone.
God, that's a depressing image I don't need to be reminded of.
But tell me I'm wrong. You can't.
I'm trying to think.
Daniels and Kaz hug. Great reaction. All the babyface locker room empties. The Briscoes end up hoisting Daniels up on their shoulders as he parades around with the Ring of Honor Championship.
You missed the important bit.
I'm getting to that. The thing is, the best part of this, when they gave him the championship, was it Kerry Silkin that did this? Because I think it was, because I did see him in the ring. Kerry Silkin gives Christopher Daniels the original Ring of Honor Championship. Mm-hmm. And Daniels celebrates with both championships.
I've got a feeling that title is probably going to be his to keep.
Oh God, yes, absolutely.
It'll be good, done good and proper and all that stuff.
I mean, it started out with 2002 at the first ever Ring of Honor show in the main event. And now in 2017, he gets to hold that championship finally.
I can't even remember who he was up against.
I don't know. It's some guy that you keep mentioning Caval all the time. Obviously, Low-Key is one of them, and the other one is Bryan Danielson.
Now, it was a triple threat.
Yeah, it was Daniels, Key, and Danielson.
See, he let the side down there, bloody Loki. He should have called himself Son, because then you'd have had Daniel's son and Danielson.
Oh God!
And then the commentators would be fucking confused.
See, I mean, the only thing missing from this match, honestly, at this point, Ashley, was Allison Danger. Considering how the storyline has gone throughout the entire time with ROH, Allison Danger has almost always been with Christopher Daniels, at least in the beginning, not anytime recently. But it was nice to have Frankie Kazarian a part of this as well.
I'm pretty sure at the minute she's too busy booking WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
Because I think she still is a person behind the scenes involved with Shimmer.
I'm pretty sure you're correct.
Obviously, I think so. And especially when you take into account, obviously, that Shine, even though it isn't run by her directly, it's Lexi Fife. Shine and Shimmer basically go hand in hand because you've got a shiny
Right.
belt sometimes on the line on Shimmer shows and vice versa. Obviously, because of the weekend and everything, there's a Shimmer thing, but also you've got the Super Show, which looks to be having a red wedding. And I should have seen it coming as to who the red wedding was, but we'll obviously talk about that Wednesday. That was happening at the same time as all this. It was like, man, it's good.
Wednesday. But yeah, it was a great show. I very much enjoyed it tonight.
I don't think it'll be one well, the only thing we'll remember about it is Daniels finally winning the big one.
Yeah.
And possibly, hopefully, it isn't the end of TKO Ryan's career, but you know, if it is his own fault he shouldn't have.
I mean, he overshot it. Like he did. I mean, he got too much spring on it. That's the problem. Sometimes when you get a springboard, you don't get as much spring as you could, and you undershoot. But this time, he got too much spring and he overshot. And I mean, we all hope that he gets better as soon as possible. But I mean, I don't want this show to be marred by the beginning of Christopher Daniels' world title reign and the end of TKO Ryan's career. I don't want that to be the case at all. We definitely here on the Popcast Network want to wish TKO Ryan the best.
How for a split second I thought it was going to be the end of Bobby Fischer's Ring of Honor career. Because I don't know whether he's properly signed.
Last time I checked, I'm not exactly sure if that has an answer currently.
Exactly.
I mean, lots can possibly happen. Tonight's TV tapings in Vegas are probably going to give us some ideas what to happen for Supercard of Honor. Obviously, they got to start building the angle with Cody and Jay Lethal for the Texas Bull Rope match. I really want to see live, but unfortunately, I can't. And of course, the Hardys against the Briscoes in the match that I thought was going to happen anyway this weekend. But it's going, instead of happening at the pay-per-view, it's actually happening at the TV tapings instead. Because when the Briscoes had that mystery contract where they were going to say they're having mystery opponents, I was thinking that the Hardys would be the perfect opponents for the Briscoes. And it makes perfect sense for that to be the case, but they ended up putting the Hardys into the match with the Bucks and Roppongi Vice, making it an extra day in order to do that match, which I think is going to be a blow-away match this weekend for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think on that note,
that was. It's interesting that they didn't put any graphic on the end, because they normally do put a graphics the next pay-per-view. So
right.
And they've already announced it, and like they have with the other shows, they normally put a graphic on. I guess because they were running so close to the end. But then again, they were going to do that anyway because of what happened.
Which makes sense.
But yeah, good fun with.
It was a good way to spend a Friday night, honestly. So, yeah, I think it's our show. Once again, it was a show that, like Ashley said, will be remembered for Christopher Daniels finally becoming World Heavyweight Champion. What happened to TK Orion? The night that Leo Rush got made in Ring of Honor. I can't forget that. And the night that we saw craziness happen with Roppongi Vice, the Hardys, and the Bucks. I mean, this was a good show. And if you missed it, check it out. Honestly, it's going to be on the Fight app. Check it out as well. So if you haven't yet watched it, obviously check it out as soon as you can, because it was definitely a solid show. and we'll be talking more about that on Wednesday on the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast. I think Ashley's still with us. I'm not positive at this point. I still see him there. There he is. He's back.
Fucking internet.
Yeah. So once again, wrestling fans, join us on Monday night if you're so inclined to talk WWE for Raw. We normally go live about 11:15 to 11:20 ish, somewhere in that time frame. Wednesday show is coming up this coming Wednesday. That's the show where we talk about everything. We talk about Ring of Honor. We talk about New Japan. We talk about SmackDown 205 Live. We talk about NXT, What Culture Pro Wrestling, and everything in between. So we're going to be discussing all that on Wednesday. That's at 9 p.m. every Wednesday night. And then we've got a lot to talk about in the near future. So, yes, if you are finding us tonight because of the ROH podcast, welcome. And hopefully you'll come back on Wednesday for the show and check it out, because that's a long one. That's a really long show, but we do our best to go very in depth on that show. So,
well, certainly with this week, obviously you got the Ring of Honor TV tapings.
Yep.
Shine providing build up to its WrestleMania stuff. CZW's last show this weekend. Shouldn't term that right. Their last show before the WrestleMania Best of the Best stuff, which we now have the brackets for, and they are looking. I think the phrase is fucking ridiculous. I think Rev Pro also having their last show or might have already had their last show before. Hang on, have I got the dates? Southside. Rev Pro's next show is WrestleMania. And Preston. So what does that mean for the WWN show? Sorry, I'm looking ahead too much.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, speaking of another thing on Wednesday, we always discuss is Impact Wrestling, and I know a lot of people are really down on it right now. But like I said, being there in person at the Impact Zone was entertaining, and I'm curious to see what everybody thinks when we move forward.
By the way, everybody, name the owl Jeff.
Oh, yeah, that'd be funny.
We can ask the owl, "Where's my fucking gold?"
Why don't you just name it Gold?
No. Gold seems like a stupid name for an owl.
Yeah.
The most credible name so far is Hootie McHootface.
Works for me. So yeah, if you want to check out more of our ROH talk we have here on this network every Wednesday for the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast. And we actually did a podcast at the end of the last year for Final Battle. And that's available here on this network if you'd like to hear us discuss Final Battle. Almost 2 hours long, so check that out if you so are inclined. And we did a Wednesday Wrestling Podcast that was on January 4th, where we talked about Wrestle Kingdom for 2 hours. So check that out if you'd like to hear about us talking about New Japan. So once again, thanks everyone for joining us tonight or tomorrow, depending on how you're looking at it. Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
Follow me on Twitter at Ash is my name UK. Hopefully there'll be a game with Ash some point this weekend, whether it's Sunday, whether it's Monday, its usual slot, who knows. Yet more material for me to get pissed at Activision now.
All right.
They're not just doing it in Call of Duty. They're screwing over a lot of British people in Hearthstone, so that's going to be brought up. And the continuing Nintendo, yes, I want to be I don't want to be seen as the negative press, but I just think that the people that are just giving Zelda 10 out of 10 and being very positive on the things are hiding the negatives, which I think need to be much more showcased as negatives than quite a lot of people are making out to be.
So it's
Yeah.
they're always opinion pieces. They're never supposed to be. They deliver facts, but they're my opinions. So deal with it.
Wrestling stuff on this network, obviously, every Monday for Raw, Wednesday for the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast. We cover all WWE and Ring of Honor pay-per-views here on this network, so check those podcasts out. They're on the Sundays and the Fridays.
If anyone makes it back in time.
Yeah, it's harder to do TNA because I'm there.
Given that we now actually have confirmation that Slammiversary is pay-per-view in July.
There will be a Slammiversary podcast, but it's going to take me about 20 minutes to get back to the apartment to do it. So don't worry. As soon as I get out of the building, we'll do the show.
Which means my devious master plan wins. And the same night, we actually also talk about New Japan show in California.
Yeah, most likely.
Because probably by the time Owen's back, it will have already finished. So we're like, yeah.
We shall see. Regular segments here on this network. Obviously, Sip and Snack on Thursday. AJ's movie reviews. Hopefully, will be Sunday. I guess we'll see. Fingers crossed that works out. Versus goes up every Friday. So that movie content, Halloween Horror Night stuff coming up very soon. So a lot of things coming up for this network. So once again, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Follow along on our Twitter at Popcast Network. Check out our Facebook fan page at Popcast Network, Zazzle merch at Popcast Network, and of course our Patreon at Popcast Network. Follow me on Twitter at Siro and Disney. And as always, in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we're very pleased that once more tonight you have chosen a podcast. Thank everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. All hail the fallen angel as your new world heavyweight champion. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
You may worship him now.